President Trump has said that he wants to bring back manufacturing to the United States. That's part of the reason why he has implemented his tariff policy. Obviously, as you know, domestic manufacturing can't grow here overnight. So what do you want to see done? What would you do in Congress to bring back domestic manufacturing?
Excellent question. It's a patience game, right? It took us a while. If you think about it, it took us a while to go to China and Mexico, right? It's going to take us a while to get those back. But I think what you have to do is you have to figure out how to incentivize businesses to come back. One of the things that I hear with businesses is, well, labor is cheaper. Well, maybe so, but is it right? Just because you can get cheaper labor, is it right to sell out your own country? So I think we have to incentivize businesses to come back to the United States. And I think Americans will buy American made products. It may be a little bit more expensive, but wages will also go up. Once you have an industrial base that continues to grow and people know it's a safe, right? It's a safe business, they're going to want to purchase that. I will tell you here, Northwest Ohio, people love American made. They want American made. They will pay higher prices for American made. So I think we have a real chance with the tariffs and the combination of things that the president is doing to turn this back around.
I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I am your neighbor right next door there. And I think that something that has touched every community in this country, regardless of where it is, regardless of party lines, is the drug and fentanyl crisis. And President Trump, he has outlined some ways he wants to fight this, including just last week, his administration announced a $50 million bounty to get the Venezuelan president any information on him that would lead to his arrest. Also, President Trump has said things like he wants to use tariffs on places like Mexico, China, and Canada as a way to combat the fentanyl crisis. What else do you think can be done here to solve this problem?
Right. Well, I think one of the things that the president is doing is he's really securing our border. So, you have to think, how is fentanyl coming here? Well, it actually goes from China to Mexico through the United States. And then you think, how does it end up somewhere in North Ohio? Like, it's literally traveling up here. So I think the first thing is you have to secure our borders. You have to know what's happening. Also, we have to have realistic treatment plans. So fentanyl is really cheap, right? It is. And it's laced in almost everything. So, for example, people are overdosing at some point accidentally because they're buying maybe some other, like a painkiller, and it's laced with fentanyl. So I think we have to make sure, how do we actually rehabilitate these folks? And in the community here, we've had so many overdoses. I hear from so many mothers who've lost their children, or the opposite, children who've lost their parents to overdose. So we have to be really realistic about this. And I think the first step is securing our border and then having treatment that I call evidence based, and it has a return on investment. We can't keep having the same programs in place that don't actually decrease fentanyl use.
I'm curious what you think that treatment would look like because, like I said, this has touched almost every community, and there doesn't seem, as of this second, to be, this big one-step cure. So what do you think that treatment would really look like?
Right. So I think the first thing, that the reason why people do turn to drugs is just quality of life, right? So you're seeing, these blue, what I call like the Rust Belt, these blue collar areas are hit the hardest because it all ties back to jobs, right? So when you don't have a job or you don't have a good quality job, it's easy to really get depressed and turn to other things. So I think one of the first things we have to do is look at jobs, right? The second thing is, in terms of treatment, I think what we've really looked at is, okay, how long does it take to get somebody clean? And what does that process look like? And I think a lot of it too is, hey, what is your next step? What's your job? A lot of people just don't have quality jobs or can't hold a job. So I think a lot of it is tied into work, right? We get there is dignity in work. So I look at those two as intertwined together.